Hey, what's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you. I want to go ahead. I'm so excited for this. I wanted to go ahead and get it out. You're watching this on a Friday. I'm recording on a Wednesday night. This is my official preview and prediction video for the national championship between Georgia and TCU. And there's a part of me that wants to make this perfect. I mean, I've put in some work, but and we got some banners and everything. But at the same time, like, look, my team crapped the bed this season. Alabama. I mean, I'm wearing my jersey, but I mean, come on. But we're here. We're going to talk Georgia TCU, break it down. What are the matchups? Should you buy what the media of college football is selling? Maybe, maybe not. The national championship 2023, Georgia Bulldogs, TCU Horned Frogs. January 9th, 2023 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You got the quarterback matchup between Stetson Bennett of Georgia, of course, who, I don't know, maybe he finally leaves after this year. And then Max Duggan, who has just been phenomenal this year, taking over this team and everything he's done as a senior. It's incredible. At first in the season, they had, I don't even remember who it was, but Max Duggan was not the guy from the start of the season. And he showed out in one of the games early on, and he's just balled out ever since, outside of well, even in the Kansas State game. I guess he did okay, but you lose to Kansas State in the Big 12 title game. That's your only loss. Understandable. They still get the nod. They not only get the nod in the college football playoff, they get the nod at the 3 seed, and they're set to face Michigan, and they ball out in that game. The defense, not so much, but that offense came prepared and gave us one of the what I would say probably the greatest college football semifinal that we've seen to date. And I've seen quite a few good ones, honestly, believe it or not. And I know maybe you could say they've been blowouts, but we've had a couple good ones in there. TCU 51, Michigan 45. Let me go ahead and pull up the ESPN website for you guys. Let's take a look at this game, man. I'm super pumped up and excited. And what about the other quarterback, Stetson Bennett, a walk-on who has just taken Georgia to new heights with Coach Kirby Smart as well. This game, again, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, a little earlier. It's normally at 8, but 30 minutes earlier this year. This is on January 9th, 2023, this upcoming Monday. As I record this on the 4th, we're 5 days away. What's at stake here when you look at it? Well, before we get into spread and everything, which obviously you can see on the screen, it's in favor of Georgia at 12.5 right here, the spread. What's at stake is Georgia, for the first time in their history, is seeking back-to-back titles. It has not happened in college football since the 2011 and 2012 seasons with my Alabama Crimson Tide when they went back-to-back. They beat LSU one year and they beat Notre Dame the next. Georgia, they beat Alabama last year 33-18. They have a chance to go back-to-back if they beat TCU. TCU, overall, what they claim, they are seeking their 3rd national title all time, the first since 1938. You got to go back 84 years. I'm not even going to get into what football was like 84 years ago. I'm not going to get into it. I'll say this. This is going to be an excellent game. I really believe that. I know people are saying that this isn't going to be close. I fully agree. And you'll see the final score I got when it's time to get there. I believe that I think TCU can make it a game. In some ways, I think that it's one of those where they do fight back a little bit in um, in the second half. Maybe it's close at halftime, even. You got to be careful because you don't know what TCU you're going to get. They were up on Kansas State and they let Kansas State come back in the Big 12 title game a little bit. But outside of that, when you look at TCU, first off, this was one of the teams going into the season that had one of the lowest odds of the Big 12 to reach the Big 12 title game, to make the national title, to make the playoff. I mean, this is Cinderella in college football at its absolute finest, is what you're saying with TCU. And Max Duggan has been the guy. Max Duggan has 3,546 yards, 32 touchdowns, 6 picks, and a QBR of 79.2. That is Max Duggan this year. And he has taken this team to new heights. First-year head coach in Sonny Dykes, what he's been able to do with the program. You got TCU with Condre Miller, Quentin Johnston. You even look at the defense. Bud Clark had a big game against Michigan, and I think one of his picks came in that game, actually. He has 5 interceptions on the year. Johnny Hodges is the lead tackler with 81 tackles. Watch their defense, man. Let's stick to the TCU for a second. What to watch for on their defense? Watch Jamoy Hodge, Johnny Hodges, no relation. Watch D. Winters. I watched him break out a little bit at times against Michigan. I know that it wasn't a defensive game, but I saw him make a couple plays in there, batted balls or get some pressure on the quarterback. Can he get to Stetson Bennett? He's got 72 tackles on the year. He leads. Actually, no, he doesn't. Dylan Horton looks like is the lead sack man. 30 sacks on the year for TCU's defense, but Dylan Horton leads that with 10. But D. Winters comes in second, 7.5 sacks for 40 yards. He's got 2 passes defended. He's got an interception for 29 yards and a pick 6. He's got a fumble recovery. Abraham Kamara is a safety. He's got a fumble forced. I could go down the list. I know that we say the Big 12 doesn't have defense. They don't believe in defense. They don't play it. It's non-existent in the Big 12. I think for the first time in a long time, a team like TCU in the Big 12 has realized that you still need it in college football. And I think they've shown that at times this year. I really do. They held Iowa State to 14 points. They held Texas to 10. They held Baylor only to 28. They give up and allow, on average, 25 points a game. And I think with all the offense we're seeing in college football today, I think that's really, really great. It's not Georgia. I think when you compare Georgia's defense, which is elite, compare that to TCU, which is maybe a little bit more than decent. It's good. I'll say it's good. It's not great, but it's good. Good enough. Georgia is more than good enough on defense, right? I still think TCU has a good enough defense that they could play in this game for maybe 3.5, maybe even play defense for 4 quarters. Might not win the game, but it's not. The thing is, when you compare it to Georgia, it looks like crap in a way, right? But if you don't have to compare to Georgia, honestly, believe it or not, because Georgia is setting the standard right now, at least for defense in college football. I'm saying that even as an Alabama fan, I'm saying that right now, right? I think you can compare it to Georgia if you want to and say it's nothing. But for a defense today in college football, considering we're in an offensive league where quarterbacks are everywhere, there's wide receivers going top 10 in the draft and everything like that, for TCU to only allow what they're allowing, I mean, they're allowing less than 150 yards rushing and less than 240 yards passing. That's pretty good, actually. Because I see guys that have 300-yard games, honestly, all the time in today's college football. So to allow less than that on average, that's pretty good. They're scoring 41 a game. They're giving up 25. Georgia is scoring 39 points a game. They're only giving up 12. So what is it going to be like? What's going to be the key for each of these teams for the national championship? And again, we mentioned Georgia is seeking back-to-back titles. It hasn't happened since 2011, 2012. TCU seeking their third all-time, first since 1938, 84 years. That's what's at stake. So, who wants it more? I think Georgia wants it more, and I think they're going to show that. They're gonna play a good defensive game. I think they give up. I think it's one of those where it's the first to 30 plus. I really do, because I believe in the quarterback play and some offense in this game. And I don't think Georgia can completely, a little bit they can keep up with Max Duggan. Now, Georgia claims this great defense, right? After everything they lost in the NFL, they still got this great defense. Well, against C.J. Stroud and Emeka Egbuka and Ohio State, they gave up 41 points. Now, you could say, well, they played a little better at the end. True, but they still gave up 41. Ask yourself. Now, CJ is a better quarterback, but ask yourself this. Who's had a better overall offense this year, Ohio State or TCU? Well, Ohio State, honestly, maybe they have. I think their issue has been defense. That's kind of held them back. They couldn't keep up with Michigan. TCU could. I don't know what else to say other than maybe that's a different topic for a different video as far as comparing TCU and the Buckeyes' offenses. I'm sorry. I'll leave that to the comments. Who's had a better offense, TCU or Ohio State? I think Ohio State has the talent, but I would be honest. I think the comebacks and the late push at the end of the season and putting 51 points up on Michigan. Oh my gosh. I'd have to, there's a part of me that wants to pick TCU, honestly. I'll say this, that TCU has an offense to keep up with Georgia's offense. Georgia's offense isn't perfect. It's great, and it's very much improved with Stetson Bennett this year, but it's not perfect. There's been some issues at times. There's been some issues for Max Duggan. They've had to come back. They've been down like 14 points in every single game, and they fought their way back or something like that, and they pulled away in the second half. Here's the thing for TCU. That magic that you've had all year where you've been down and have made comebacks, that's great. It's not going to cut it against Georgia's defense. I think the keys are going to be this. TCU strikes first and gets off to a fast start offensively and can hold on, they win this game. If TCU gets behind Georgia by double digits, the game is most likely over, probably over. I know I hate to say it, and I could be wrong, but I think the physicality, great, my Nana's going to hear that and get so pissed at me. The physical toughness, the mental toughness, just how physical Georgia is on defense is nothing to mess around with, nothing to take away. And I really do believe it could be key in this game. Ah, man, this is going to be a good game. I think TCU could torch um, Georgia's defense. I really do. They're going to have an offense. They got a Heisman finalist and a quarterback. So does Georgia. They got, they got Max Duggan. They got Keandre Miller, Amari DiMarcardo, who I remember watching against Michigan. And honestly, that was, he was looking like he was having a heck of a game. Quentin Johnson, Tay Barber, Savion Williams, Darius Davis. Quentin Johnson's normally the go-to guy. I'll be interested to see this matchup. I don't know if this is what it should be. When you look at it, I think it should be Quentin Johnson and honestly a guy like either Keely Ringo, who was the championship, go-to guy last year when he intercepted the ball on Alabama. For those that don't remember, of course, Georgia fans remember, they won't shut up. But okay, Quentin Johnson against either Keely Ringo or the freshman that has stepped up this year. And boy, I love watching him play. Malachi Starks, who has 68 total tackles. He's got 7 defended passes. Also, Keely Ringo has 7 defended passes as well. He's got 2 picks. Malachi Starks also has 2 picks for 42 yards. Keely Ringo's 2 picks are for 45 yards. No pick sixes, by the way. Honestly, believe it or not, no defensive touchdowns by Georgia this year. I don't know. I mean, that's not – I'm not throwing that out there to pick on them or anything. I just figured I'd let you know that. Actually, looking at the stats here, I'm really surprised. I guess in a way, I mean, Georgia has taken a step back defensively, but not in the way that we expected them to. I figured they would drop off completely. They still, like I mentioned, only hold teams on average to less than 2 touchdowns outside of, maybe that Ohio State game or whatever. Georgia, look at the matchup predictor here. 72.9, count it as 73% chance to win. Spread is 12.5. TCU with a 27% chance to win. Underdogs, 62.5 over under. I'm not going to tell you how to bet this game. I'm not an expert. Don't ask. 60 degrees in Inglewood, California at SoFi Stadium, home of the LA Rams. Not really a backyard home field advantage for either one of these teams. They each got to travel far to California. TCU is closer than Georgia is, but they're both in more so the southeast region of the country. Got to go to the West Coast. I'll say this. I've said enough on here. I'm ready to get into my prediction, folks. I think Georgia is the better team. I've seen TCU battle tested all year long. I've seen Georgia just demolish teams. They really only have one or 2 close games. If you're taking offense to win a championship, take TCU. If you're taking defense to win it, take Georgia. I hate to do this. I don't want to see this happen because I love the story of TCU. They're a Texas Christian University. I don't know. I mean, that I can think of, when's the last time a Christian university won a championship? Maybe last time TCU won a championship. I don't know. 1938, 84 years. 84 years since TCU's won a title. I'm pulling for TCU, but if I gotta be honest, I'm rolling with those dogs right there. I got to go with the dogs. They got that dog mentality, the fights. I mean, Kirby is just that good of a coach. And I'm not saying it's set up for him. Like last year, the stars aligned and it was so set up for Georgia. You just kind of saw it coming. This year, you could kind of see it coming for TCU if it happens. But at the same time, man, I don't know. I have a feeling Georgia's going to be too much. I give you a final score prediction here. I'm ready to share it. I'm going to say there's going to be a lot of offense, and I'm going to say 42-30. By 12 points, Georgia wins. And I think it comes down to Georgia's going to have the ball last. They'll eat up the clock. I think it's one of the – I don't know if it's going to be TCU making a comeback and just coming up short in this game, or if they have a fast start and you see Georgia. I mean, this could be a shootout and one of those where Georgia pulls away. I don't know. I have a feeling you're going to see a lot of points. Combined score, this is 72. I'm going 9.5 over on 62. Maybe a little less than 42 for Georgia. 30 seems about right for TCU. That could be. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be one possession. I think it's going to be two scores. I think two possessions and Georgia wins. And honestly, something like 28-14 or 31-17. I think that's a little low, man. I don't know what it is. I see a lot of offense on this field Monday night. I really do. Trust and believe that. And give it to the Dogs to go on top yet again and repeat as national champions. I love y'all. Jesus loves you. He's got a great plan. Trust and believe that. Please like, comment, and subscribe right here to Ballard Sports Media for more sports content. Comment as I'm premiering this. Comment your score predictions. I want to hear them. I want to know them. And tell me where I messed up. Tell me why I'm wrong about this score, because I see a lot of offense for TCU. Going to be tough. Going to be a new challenge for Georgia. Like I said, too, like they gave up 41 to Ohio State. TCU's not Ohio State's offense, but they're not completely worse. Georgia's probably going to have a little bit of hangover on defense. They're going to struggle a little bit, but in the end, they get it together, I think. 42-30, Georgia and the Dogs on top of college football yet again, and they repeat as national champs. God, it hurts to say that, but I'm being unbiased for you guys. Love y'all. Comment your score predictions. Jesus loves you. He's got a great plan. Please like, comment, and subscribe right here to Ballard Sports Media for more sports content. And until next time, Ballard Sports Media, check it out. I love y'all. Peace. And from a Bama fan, roll Tide. We'll see you.